Amid contractual disputes, the Brooklyn Nets have been listed as the betting favorites to land star point guard Trae Young. Does it make sense for Brooklyn? Is it feasible? Hello, everyone, and welcome in to the Brooklyn Boys Show, streaming live right here on YouTube and Twitter. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you smash that like button and hit subscribe on your way into the building. It's completely free, and it helps us grow significantly on the channel. I am your host, Connor Long. Again, thank you so much for all sparing time right here on this Thursday evening, August 7th, 2025. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw those in the chat. We're going to get to those later. Appreciate all your support as always right here on the show. And joining me today, an incredible guest, one of few fellow Nets content creators, the host of the Nets Fan You Know podcast, the great Pete, graces us with his presence here on the program. Pete, thank you so much for sparing some time for me. As always, my friend, how you been?
Good, man. I'm excited. Let's go. Let's chop it up. Let's get the energy up.
Oh, yeah, baby. And we hear so many big names being linked to the Brooklyn Nets, whether it was Giannis at the start of the offseason. Obviously, the Nets have a big name in their own hands as it stands, with Cam Thomas, who's still negotiating out for a contract at Tyler Herro. The trade rumors, we'll get into that. We know the Nets have expressed prior interest in Herro, but the new name on the block, Pete, for Nets fans is Trae Young. Vegas listed him as the betting favorite to land in Brooklyn. Obviously, we see him in some big contractual disputes right now with the Atlanta Hawks as he enters the final year of a 5-year, $216 million contract. Pretty steep cap hit this year is $45 million this year, and then a player option for $48 million next year. Pete, I'll just be pretty blunt here and throw it to you right out of the gate. Doesn't make sense for the Nets to covet Trae Young.
Oh, it does. It makes a lot of sense. Whenever you could get like a star player who's pretty much in the prime of their career, it's gonna make sense. But I think the question we have to ask ourselves, if we're going off that whole betting website thing and the odds, is it that the odds are stated like that because the Nets have all this cap room and they're gonna have an ability to add a star, or is it because there's actually interest there?
Absolutely. And I think, whenever a big name comes on the trade market, obviously the Nets are going to be linked pretty highly there, not only because they have so much cap room, but they also play in New York City, a highly coveted after media market. We heard that, as a focal point surrounding the rumors to Giannis to the Nets this offseason. I think the bottom line here with Trae Young and what it comes down to, whether it makes sense for the Nets to covet him or not, is the cap hit. It's a pretty significant cap hit over the next few years. And that's something the Nets are going to have to weigh in over $40 million this year and then a $40+ million player option next season. I don't think it may, and let me preface this by saying Trae Young, in my opinion, is one of the NBA's most premier players. He is one hell of an NBA basketball player. I don't think it makes sense for the Nets to target him right now when they're not in position to make a championship push, when they don't just need that one more superstar to get them over the hump and, put them in position to win the NBA Finals. This is a guy I'd look to bring in, 2 or 3 years down the road, for example, when you're in that position to win an NBA Finals. You have your young core, you have your young pieces, and you just need that superstar to propel you to victory. I don't know if it makes all the sense in the world for the Nets to take on this significant cap hit here when how much is it really going to change the outcome of the season?
Oh, absolutely. Well, when you ask the question, do I think it makes sense? Obviously, this season they're probably going to be tanking, or you're going to be seeing the rookies just playing all out and all these minutes. And like you said, maybe 2 years down the line, it's going to be really interesting if he picks up that player option and
Mhm.
that trade deadline, not this season, but next season. Because he's probably going to want to go to a place that's going to give him the money that he wants. And talking about the cap hit, it's probably going to be like 50, 60 million. We're not going to be talking about 40 million then.
Absolutely. And you also don't even take into account when we're talking about this year, the package that you'd have to give up to acquire Young at first glance right out of the gate. I think you look at, it'd be Cam Thomas, who'd be on the move because you don't trade for Trae Young and also keep Cam Thomas. So it'd be a sign and trade, which means you have to give Cam Thomas at least a 3-year deal and then ship him off, plus multiple first round picks, multiple second round picks, Pete. It would be a very lucrative price tag on top of just having to pay Trae Young when it comes to giving up assets here.
So let's like sit down and we'll take out a calculator, break down the numbers, a little chat GBT.
There we go.
I think you would have to start with let let's start with this. He's not going to get traded to the Nets this season, so let's look next season. Okay,
Yes.
you have Michael Porter Jr. still in the books, I think. if you're Atlanta, you probably want to have a contract that's going to be expiring. So that's about 40 million esque that's going to be opening up for them. And of course, they want talent. If the Nets keep Cam Thomas, he probably goes. You might have to trade if a Demon or Nolan Traore does play well enough to get the interest of other teams. They might have to be thrown into it, and all those picks, like you said. There's going to be a
Absolutely.
lot to this.
And yeah, the price tag too. It's like I don't know if you're a big NFL fan, Pete, but it's like the Micah Parsons situation in the NFL right now. He's trying to hold out for a new contract. Like the team that would have to take him in would also have to, make him probably the highest paid not paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Obviously, I don't think Trey Young lives up to that stature, but certainly a lucrative price tag. I mean, he balls out this year. You're looking at a super max deal next season if he declines that player option. So you'd have to give up a ton and you'd have to pay a ton for Trae Young. Pete, another guard who's a flashy playmaker and gets buckets, who the Nets have been linked to, is Tyler Herro. Reports resurfaced yesterday surrounding the trade rumors of Tyler Herro with a report that came from Clutch Points NBA reporter Brett Siegel. Who do you think who do you think would fit better with the Nets in a trade? Is it Tyler Herro or is it Trae Young? Who would make more sense in Brooklyn?
I don't think it's even close. It's definitely going to be Trae Young. The Nets are looking for that number one guy. I may be biased here, but I'm not a big Tyler Herro fan. I think he's more of like a number two type of guy. You want to put him with somebody else. I think with Trae Young, you kind of build your offense around him. You know how dynamic he is with the shooting, getting to the line, etc. He's a true number one in my mind.
I think it depends on the overall stance of this team. Like if you're just looking to add a overall solid playmaker, someone who still is young, someone who still has a ton of upside, who can get you 20 points a game, I think you're looking at 25-year-old Tyler Herro without trying to break the bank. Obviously, with a significant contract, you'd still have to take on with Trae Young here. So I'd say Tyler Herro when it comes to making the most financial sense and balancing the money you'd have to pay him compared to the on-court product that you're going to get out of him. So that's where I go Tyler Herro. But Pete, at the end of the day, if you look to acquire any one of these guys, which I don't think will happen in Brooklyn, you're going to have to give up probably your most highly sought after asset, that being Cam Thomas, who still remains, in these contract disputes. Pete, is he in or out of Brooklyn come game one of the 2025-2026 season?
Man, I'm so happy you asked that. I want to go back to Trae Young versus Herro just for 1 second, and then I'll get to Cam Thomas. If you're in a playoff series, right, and we're looking best player versus best player, would you want Trae Young or Tyler Herro? I think I'd want a Trae Young.
Trae Young, absolutely, but I think the Nets are not going to be there at any point, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely, you're right.
Seasons, so that's the way I kind of balance it when you look at it from a current roster building perspective with what the Nets are trying to do here. I think Tyler Herro is similar to Cam Thomas, but a way better playmaker. That's the way I view it. Like you get a better Cam Thomas in Tyler Herro, a more efficient shooter, a better playmaker, a better defender. That's kind of the way I view the upgrade there. You also wouldn't have to give up too much for Herro. I think what you look to give up for Herro is, well, obviously the contracts on the books over the next 2 years. It's $30 million, a little over $30 million each of the next 2 seasons. But you give up Cam Thomas in a sign and trade, which is obviously would be known for Brooklyn. Then I think you give up a first round pick, one of your 16, I think, first round picks it is over the next 8 NBA drafts. And then you give up, 3 or 4 second rounders. So I don't think the price tag would be nearly as significant when it comes to a new contract or what you'd have to give up to acquire him.
This is where I'm going to disagree with you. I think this price tag is going to be a little bit higher. And we don't know if the Heat even like Cam Thomas. With this whole thing, is he a sixth man? Is he this? Is he that? Do teams like him? Is it empty stats? That whole thing, it really depends what Miami would think. And maybe you're right. Maybe they think Cam Thomas is a god and they would want to do a deal like that. I think they would ask for a little bit more. And you asked, do I think if Cam Thomas is going to be back in Brooklyn?
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's going to be back. I think the question is it going to be a 1-year deal, the qualifying offer, or is it going to be like a 2 or 3 year deal?
I think you have to look at least a 3-year deal if you're going to try to retain him here, Pete, because on a 3-year deal, I've said these past few days, 3-year deal at the MLE, which is around $14.75 million a year, is a fair enough assessment for what Cam Thomas has shown, especially coming off a year where He only played 25 games. When you look at a guy who's dealt with injuries over the past few years, I think he's going for security here on this deal because, a player who his value is very polarizing right now. I think the consensus that was around $15 million, if you kind of want to split the difference as to what he's worth right now in the open market. He goes into the year on a 1-year deal or a 1-year deal with a team option for the second year, and he gets hurt and he only plays another 25 games. You're looking at a guy whose ceiling is $8 or $9 million next offseason. So I think Cam Thomas is also going to look to go with more security here on this deal.
Well, supposedly what's offered right now is the 1-year deal with the team option or around 14, 15 million. I think that's a little bit low, but I think it's the correct price for this market. Maybe I shouldn't say correct price, but I think that is what the market is showing us what he's worth right now. Next season, all these teams with cap space are going to have lots of money to spend. Maybe there's a deal out there for him, but this is what it comes down to with the Nets. I'll keep it short and sweet. If he takes the qualifying offer, which is a 1-year deal, like I just said,
$5.99 million. Sorry to cut you off there, but you can't trade him. So, he at least needs to 3 years. You have to be on a 3-year deal to get a sign and trade. But there's no point, in my opinion, of bringing. I'd rather sign and trade him than bring him back on the qualifying offer.
You're probably right. There's a lot of arguments you can make for that, and that's the issue. If you bring him back on a 1-year deal, we know that he's not going to be traded. Most likely, he's going to have his value is going to be really low because he could say, "Oh, you're going to trade me to a team with the best offer? No, I want to go to this team." He's going to pick the team that he wants, and the Nets are pretty much going to take pennies on the dollar. And Sean Marks has been I don't know how to say this. A tough negotiator, saying it nicely. Stingy negotiator. So I don't know how that really plays out. I think, like you said, I'd rather trade him now because there's going to be a lot of drama if he takes the qualifying offer. And frankly, I think it makes a lot of sense for both sides to get together on a deal. You get security if you're Cam Thomas, if you give him like a 2-year deal with an option, a little more money, and the Nets have the ability to trade him going forward. So it's a little confusing to me.
We just mentioned there, Pete, how Sean Marks has been stingy in these negotiations. Are you pleased with the way he's handled these disputes?
Man, as someone who runs a podcast, this is great with all the drama and stuff. As someone who's a fan and maybe is a little bit pro player, it's a little sad to see what's going on. This guy has been a Net drafted by the Nets. You want to see him get paid, and he's still going to be 25 at the start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
The Nets really think there's not going to be even any improvement in this guy's game at all. That's what they're kind of telling me right now.
I don't think he's a $30 million player. I think what the Nets have offered him around $14 million a year is a fair offer. And I like the fact that Sean Marks isn't just dishing out $30 million to this guy because, let's be real, Pete, we've gotten no indication from this organization that they love Cam Thomas as a player. And he's
the opposite, actually.
Exactly. And that they can, build around him. It's been the polar opposite throughout CT's tenure in Brooklyn. So I think Sean Marks is staying true to what he believes, for better or worse. And I like a GM doing that no matter what. Do I trust Sean Marks after what we've seen over the past, 6 seasons in Brooklyn? Absolutely not. But I like the fact that he's staying close. He's not giving in, and he's not just handing out $30 million to Cam Thomas because that's what him and his camp want.
That's fair. That's fair.
Thank you for all tuning in right here on the Brooklyn Boys Show. Make sure you smash the like button, hit subscribe. Connor and Pete right here with you guys on the show. Appreciate you tuning in. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw those in the chat. Follow Pete and his incredible work. You can find his work on the Nets Fans You Know channel on YouTube. Follow him on Twitter at Nets Fans You Know. Does such great work, and super happy that he's able to join us here on the show. We'll open that up to a Q&A for all you Net fans in the chat. So keep all the questions, comments, thoughts flowing in right here on the show. Timothy Parks says Trae Young is just another Cam Thomas. Another one is a one-dimensional player, one-dimensional player scoring machine who doesn't defend. Trae Young is a way better playmaker, in my opinion, than Cam Thomas. This is someone who averaged over a double-double last season, Pete. I think that's a little disrespectful to Trae Young.
Yeah. Trae Young is a better player. Like, Timothy, you make a very good point, right? Like, there is going to be issues on defense, but I think the difference is why Trae Young is valued more than Cam Thomas is that Trae Young's impact on the game is a lot on offense is a lot more impactful than Cam Thomas. Yes,
Playoff
Cam Thomas can
experience
score.
too.
Yeah, Cam Thomas, yes, he could score 40 points, but there's this whole thing of how many shots is he getting it on? How many points is he giving up on defense? For some reason, we don't hear that same talk with Trae Young.
Absolutely. More playoff experience as well, a better playmaker, has more of an impact, in my opinion, on his team on the court. Someone who you could truly build an offense around, someone who could facilitate the ball for you. I think Trae Young is light years better than Cam Thomas is. Jonathan says Trae Young and Giannis would be a very interesting duo in Brooklyn. If the Nets traded for Trae Young and Giannis, Pete, I would be very disappointed. As crazy as that sounds, if they traded for both those guys today, I'd be disappointed.
Yeah, in a scenario that would happen, the team would basically be like Igor Demon, them two, and a bunch of either rookies or minimum contracts. I think that eats up most of your cap space. And man, we've seen the whole big three thing. We've seen Phoenix. You need to have a more balanced roster. And I think getting those two guys, as great as they are, would definitely set an imbalance on the salary cap sheet.
Not only that, it just wouldn't make sense. You just took 5 rookies. You've shown that you're taking this unique direction and, taking
Yeah.
time to rebuild this team instead of rushing it. Then you flip the script out of the middle of nowhere and trade for 2 of the NBA's best players who have 2 of the biggest contracts in the league and are going to demand supermax deals, a new supermax deal in the coming years as well. So would not make sense to me at all. Jonathan follows it up saying Brooklyn would have to field a ultra defensive physical front to protect Trae. I think he's referring to here Trae Young.
Yeah.
Look, again, this doesn't make sense to me. If you're going to trade for anyone, trade for Tyler Herro, in my opinion. Which at this point, I think you're better off just riding it out with Cam Thomas.
You're probably right. It's better to just have the cap sheet open in like a year or two, whatever it's going to be for the Nets. You have the rookies, let them develop, see what happens. Because this is when everything works out. When you have productive players on low contracts and you're able to add a star on top of that, that's when you have a team. Look at OKC. Yeah, they just gave up all those contracts, but going into this year, you had those 3 guys who just got paid: SGA, Chet, and Jalen Williams. They all were on lower contracts. They would have gotten a lot more, especially obviously they got a lot more, right?
Yeah, I mean Hartenstein even signed a big deal with them last offseason as well. Like
Exactly.
a lot of moving pieces with these big names around the league. Timothy says, Connor, you sound a little hoarse.
Uh-oh.
COVID, baby. I hate that. Yeah, I've been muting, so I need to, sniffles. For those, I don't think I've even said it on my Jet show earlier today. Yep, dealing with COVID, so not fun, but like I said, Pete, the Earth's still spinning, the world's still moving, so no excuses. You got to keep up with it, Pete.
That's where the show goes on.
Absolutely. There we go. Patriots 12 says Herro, a great player, elite shooter, great 3-pointers, but with him, with a all-star, he's elite, multiple 40-point games this year. I think he's talking about Cam Thomas on the flip side here.
No. I know. I'll tell you what he's saying. Herro's good by himself,
Oh,
but with an all-star added on, he could do. And that's my thing. I
COVID's
think
lowered
that
my IQ, Pete. I'm sorry
it's
about
okay.
that.
It's all good. You're a smart kid. Don't say that. You're a smart guy.
Appreciate it.
Tyler Hero's like a good number 2, and I think that's what Patriots 12 is talking about. And I agree. I think if you have a Giannis and you add a Tyler Hero to that, and you don't pay Tyler Hero, like a max deal or something, and you're able to spend more on the other parts of your roster, that's something, a couple years down the line that might be, something that they look at.
Also, I don't think there's many coaches like to the caliber of Eric Spoelstra in the NBA as well. So playing in that system also gives Herro a boost as well. Let's see, where are we in the chat? That's DNA says, does Trae help us win one playoff? Does Trae help us win one playoff series?
Not this year.
Not this year. What if they added Trae Young? If they traded for Trae Young today, Pete, would they change their opinion on where they stand in the East?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I think you could be a 10 seed with Trae Young.
I was gonna say, yeah, maybe you don't finish last, but with just Trae Young, and you have to have Cam Thomas. Let's say Cam Thomas is gone, right? So we have Trae Young stays healthy, Clack stays healthy. If they keep Michael Porter Jr. and and you get a couple contributions from like a couple of the rookies, maybe they go up a little bit. But I can't see them making like a top 8 seed with that roster right now.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. I mean, they don't have enough talent. Like, that's the bottom line. They don't have enough established talent. Like, the past few years it's been, bad games, bad coaching. Now it's just you don't have enough talent, which is certainly the storyline in Brooklyn as he just took 5 rookies in the NBA draft. Can't emphasize that enough. Jonathan says pairing Trae Young with AJ DeBanster, Cam Boozer next year could work, but Trae is not a number 1 option. He's a secondary star. I disagree with that. I think if you give Trae his offense, he could be a number 1 option. No, don't know about championship caliber team, but definitely a playoff team.
I think if you traded those Steph Curry teams with Trae Young, like do they win all those championships with that roster of like KD, Draymond, and whatnot? They probably still win. So I disagree that he can't be a number 1 option, but I think that if you get Trae Young, you have to have like solid defense at other positions to make up for it, right? You're muted.
Thank you for the reminder there, Pete. Jonathan says, these are potential top stars Brooklyn can target between now and 2027. Trae Young, Donovan Mitchell, Giannis, and Nikola Jokic. Who's the best fit? It depends where they are in 3 years. Like I've said this before. You got to establish a young core, in my opinion, before you go out and try to trade for a finishing piece, a superstar that solidifies your run of an NBA Finals caliber team. I don't think trading for any of those guys right now would make any sense at all.
Let's get back to this conversation in 2 years. That's what I say.
Absolutely. When Trae Young is probably a free agent if he doesn't agree to a new deal and battles it out somewhere. Same goes for, a handful of these guys as well. Is a rotation of Trae Young, Drake Powell, Yegor Dielman, MPJ, and Danny Wolf a realistic starting lineup in 2026? And could that team make the play-in?
Jonathan, I'm disappointed in you. You know better than that. Come on. I know Jonathan personally.
John's the best. He always tunes in, so appreciate you, John. I think the best rotation really on the Nets team, if you trade for Trae Young when it comes to getting into the play-in, it would go Trae Young, Yegor, like he had there, MPJ, Sharp, and who would be your small forward then? Terrence Mann. Zaire Williams, one of those guys. I don't know if I don't feel comfortable with starting Drake Powell and Danny. Certainly not Danny Wolf, but not Drake Powell either.
Yeah, these guys are too young. You just have basically MPJ and Trae Young, right? Drake Powell, we haven't even seen him in Summer League. We couldn't even see him in Summer League. Like, how is his game gonna come out? We really don't know.
Absolutely. Trae Young needs to play some type of defense, Connor. Shea isn't a great defensive player, but he gives you effort when he can. Trae, unfortunately, needs a lot of defensive protection. Look, we can complain about his defense, but at the end of the day, he averaged a double-double last year. He's one of the NBA's best shooters. He's one of the NBA's best playmakers. You don't trade for Trae Young for his defense. Is he a cone on defense? Sure. I think he's better than Cam Thomas on defense, but there are other areas that I think supersede his poor defense.
I agree. I think you nailed it.
Ladies and gentlemen, smash that like button. Keep hitting subscribe. We're almost at 400 subs, so get us to 500. Get us to 500 subs. 81 away, so keep hitting subscribe. Keep smashing the like button. It is completely free, and it helps us grow significantly right here on the show. 75 of you guys watching live right now, so appreciate all your support as always right here on the Brooklyn Boys Show. Shorter show today. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 p.m. EST. Jed Katz, friend of the show, Sports Illustrated, will join us on the program. Jed Katz. What did I say? Jake, I said?
I think you said Jake. I
thought I said Jed. But
no, it's my bad, y'all. My bad.
You're good. You're good. I thought I said Jed, but I could be wrong.
It's COVID. That's what
COVID has depleted me completely. Pete, thank you for sparing some time for us as always. Get your final thoughts out. Basketball related, non-basketball related. Let everyone know where they can find you again as well.
Sure, man. I just think we're a little bit in a holding period right now, seeing what's going to happen with Cam Thomas. I do think the Nets do have another move up their sleeves. I don't know if it's going to come now or in training camp. I think you're going to see something small happen. I don't know. Maybe they add in like $5 million on this cap to get like a second rounder or two, something like that. And there's just a lot of time to kill before training camp starts. There's a little bit of a dull period, but it's nice to have talks with guys like you. And they could follow me at NetFriends, on Twitter and YouTube. I took a little bit of a break this week. I'm gonna take probably another week off, and then I'll be back.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's Pete. I'm your host, Connor Long, signing off right here on the Brooklyn Boys Show. Have a great rest of your evening, Net fans. And as always, go Nets, baby. Peace out.